I love being back in Cardiff. One time, the Manics were playing at the Castle, and I was a bit cheeky. I kind of stood and I was able to see about 30 minutes of their set from the street.
I mean, it's ridiculous. I live in Cardiff, and I've never played here.
Really?
I played St David's Hall, right, but I've never played the new theatre, so
it's nice theatre. And the nicest thing about this theatre, for me, because I just love the history of it, that the dresser seats are outside the dressing rooms. They flip up, so the dresser was supposed to sit outside waiting for Sir to say yes, and they've kept them from the 20s. I love that. Yeah. This thing with touring plays, we're trying to bring drama out to the masses and let people who don't usually get to the theatre. A lot of people that come to see Billy and I in this might never have been apart from a panto. That's the only thing they've seen. Yeah. So you get something that's accessible for them, and hopefully, certainly the younger generation, hopefully they'll get the bug and they'll start to make that a part of their cultural life, that they get to see 1 or 2 plays a year, you know, and expand themselves. So we've got that responsibility, and we don't take it lightly.
The audience that we seem to be getting is a very mixed audience. You've got dyed-in-the-wool Rankin fans who've read all the books, and you wonder what they expect, and this is a different Rebus in a different environment. It's not the television and it's not a book. Yeah. So it's very interesting to see, if you talk to people afterwards, what they actually thought of the experience, and they love it.
Ian had put this off for quite some time because he didn't think of himself as a dramaturg. He didn't think he had it within him to write a play, so he was guided before, and then he put this one together. He wanted to set it in. It's an homage to Christie, isn't it? Really, it's a drawing room thriller.
And Priestley's the main.
Yes, yeah. He's very inspired by Inspector Calls, and I think he's got it. There's so many levels, there's so many layers, so much nuance for us to play, and it's very exciting actually. And if I may, the change in the audiences that they pick up in different things, and we're always blown away by it, that they go for that type of thing or that type of thing, and Ian's put all those bits in. He's covered himself, hasn't he?
All the angles.
It's incredible. Yeah. Accessible, theatre accessible is I think what it's going to be, and I can tell you briefly that he's invited to a dinner party in a very posh house in the New Town in Edinburgh, and he's completely out of his comfort zone. He ain't want to be there, but he's got a little hot spot for an old flame of his and a potential old flame. So he's gone along as the plus one, and there's other people at this party. There's only 6 of us, and in Act 1 he's very much out of his comfort zone. Billy's character holds court, and then something happens at the end of Act 1, and then we're right back into normal Rebus, aren't we?
Yeah. And also, every actor has to have a different take on that character anyway. So that's an interesting thing just in itself. You don't want to do it like someone else has done it either. Well, I've always been a fan. I've read all the books,
and I've not that I've not been a fan, but I've not read all the books. I had read a couple of books way back. I remember reading Flesh Market Close when it came out, but never really get hooked. And I think just sometimes as actors, I'm not one of those actors who can read a great deal. If I'm working a lot, I really need to focus on what I'm working on, because all those other words start to come in and start to confuse. So when I was asked to do this, I did ask Ian, because we had a press launch quite early on in Edinburgh, and I said, Ian, you've done 24 of these and I ain't read them. Which ones I need to, what highlights, what ones should I go? He says, don't. He says, this is completely removed from the books. He's retired. There are a lot of references, and the aficionados are on it, aren't they?
Oh, well,
you could see them go. They anything that's in the past for Rebus, they titter. They're on it, so they know exactly what's happening. And if you haven't seen
doesn't
one,
matter.
Doesn't matter.
I mean, my character is a recurring character in the novels that the Rebus fans will get, and we go, oh, I know who he is, but he's not him. It's the same, you know, Rebus isn't Rebus as in the books, and my character is not my character as in the books.
There are people around the country that want to see Gray. Oh, I'd like to see him do that detective or try that. Let's see what he's doing this year, because, you know, I do quite a lot of these. But so there's that sort of fan base that come back to it. They just want to be entertained. They know what they're going to get, and this one is, well, it's got a real special place in my heart. It's great fun. It really is great fun. And the reaction we get every night is just blowing me away. We've done it 34, 35 times now. And there's news. We come off and say, that was interesting.
Yeah.
That was an interesting way you played that line tonight. Or,
Yeah.
You know, and we get to scat a little bit. You know, you get to, you know, within the framework of the lines. Just because lines are written, we must stick faithful to the script. But we don't have to play it in that way every time. We're allowed to.
You can play the pause.
You can play the
Don't
pause,
take too long, darling.
or you can inflect a line in a different way, and it just means something. And what it does is Billy might say, "Oh, you're trying that, are you?" And then he goes off. He goes off in that direction, and it's fun. Do you know? It makes it fun, because I think we're going to do this 95 times.
Yeah.
By the end of the tour, you know, there's a lovely freshness. I love that. I love that thing about the immediacy of acting. You know, impulsive acting excites me.
Within a framework.
Of course, it's got to be within the frame. If someone goes AWOL and walks off stage and starts doing
Yeah.
something else, then you go, wait a minute. But you know, it's just within that page, within those words, you know, there's a certain way. There's thousands of ways you can play it. Well, he's described always in the books as very grumpy and very dour, and that's something that I'm not saying I've struggled with, but the Act 1, he's just got to be very uncomfortable in the situation. He's in a posh dinner party. He goes to work in men's pubs. That's his background. So you know, he's a fish out of water. But as soon as that body's found upstairs, spoiler, he just jumps into
Cop
action.
mode.
He just jumps into action, and he takes control, and everyone else, then the jeopardy completely turns round, and that's the excitement. It makes everyone stay in that room for that full Act 2, and it's a pressure cooker.
It's a wonderful city. Yes, I ended up here because of circumstance. My wife's work is here, and I love it. It has everything that a capital city should have.
Have you been here now?
3.5 years.
Right.
Got moved in COVID. Yeah.
I feel like an ex-part of here, because for many years, you know, through Casualty and Doctor Who and all these things, you know, I've been in and out, and a very good friend of mine is the showrunner on Who, so, you know, I'm often popping back and forward, and it's always great to do a bit of work here.